with KawaiiRice. KawaiiRice putting on a very good show right now, and I've got to say, playing well altogether. And he's still got this Vulture back here. Let's see if this can manage to sneak in and get a couple more kills. So now the armory being placed, again, KawaiiRice in a really nice position, has some more factories being planted down, has really nice saturation altogether. It looks like he's got a siege tank and some Vultures. He can maybe, well, he's got a lot of Dragoons to work through, but if he can get that cliffside edge kind of work right here, he could work against G5. That's one thing about Tau Cross, is you really have to go robotics facility and that shuttle sooner than later, because you have to worry about that spot in particular. Well, I thought there was something orange right there at that location. Maybe it was, I missed it, just seeing vapor images from that observer. But that shuttle, the dropship able to cycle around, losing one Vulture, and that's really going to alert G5, unfortunately. I think otherwise, maybe the distractionary attack will pay off, though, because some Vultures wandering directly into the secondary, and G5 completely unprepared for this. Oh, man, losing more probes, losing more at his secondary. I think he'd already moved some troops back and running headlong, some of his Dragoons, right into a minefield. And the shuttle still hanging out here at that natural secondary, now going to unload with that siege tank and this Vulture, and really playing well. Really playing well. Just, I got to say, playing beautifully, and emptying this expansion once again. He's just pulling further and further ahead economically, still able to get the troop count, running into a supply block right there, which is really going to hurt him, and he's not going to be able to capitalize on this as much as he really wanted to, but taking out a lot of these Dragoons, beautiful mine placement underneath that bridge, and continuing to put that pressure on. But at some point, he needs to transition this into a superior economy or an actual attack force rather than just Vultures. You can't just harass. Let your opponent continue to build up and not really go for any sort of killing blow ultimately, and then ultimately expect to win. But I guess he's going to make a rout of it, because these Vultures doing a ton of damage to G5's base, doing a ton of damage to G5's Dragoon count, and you can see with Tau Cross, those Vultures in the mid-game, brutal. Absolutely brutal. Still not a lot of probe saturation at any of the bases. The secondary actually looking the heaviest right now. Still no second gas from G5, and he's gone up to 5 gateways and is just producing nothing but Dragoons, and maybe even might want to actually get another observer out in the field. Looks like he does have an observer on the front door, just to keep an eye on these Vultures as they're moving out. KawaiiRice actually playing a little bit slower. Looks like he's getting that weapons 1 upgrade, putting in an additional factory, and still playing very Vulture heavy. And I think he should transition, maybe think about transitioning into more siege tanks, but sticking to the Vultures as he's pressing out into the secondary. But this is going to get less and less effective over time as G5 is able to produce more and more Dragoons. Right there you can see, even with a large amount of Vultures, able to press in, get a couple kills, but still having to back out ultimately. I think he's getting a little bit overzealous with his attack here, moving 2 siege tanks. I don't think he's going to pin for, well, maybe he's going to pin for this corner again. Going to pin for this corner again, move in the Vultures from behind and distract the Dragoons, and siege from both locations here, trying to plant mines as best he can. The Dragoons really confused, and I got to say, KawaiiRice playing this very, very well. Still losing siege tanks, but able to get a couple probes and get a couple Dragoons otherwise, but still not able to supply to pull ahead. And as much as as much as I boast about KawaiiRice's macro out into the mid game, he's really not showing it as well in this match. Now he has some siege tanks to supplement. Right as weapons 1 should be coming online. It looks like actually he's a little bit off. It should at the rate of movement though maybe come online as he's moving across the field. But G5 already has a large Dragoon force starting to move forward, starting to take a bit of map control. I guess he really kind of triggered this, really knew it was coming, and I think with the amount of Dragoons, if he can just position it just right, he should be in a safe situation. I'm not sure how he's doing for kind of any tech to follow this up. He's just been so stymied this entire time. I don't even see a Citadel of a Dune at this stage from G5, so he's going to have to get it completely done with just Dragoons. And yeah, let's see how well he does microwing just Dragoons versus siege tanks and Vultures. And KawaiiRice now pressing out. It looks like he does have that 12 o'clock expansion running for him. I still think he should continue with the aggression. Looks like he's loading up a dropship to do just that. The Dragoons getting pinned back, trying to press forward as much as they can, because that's one thing, is if you let a Terran isolate here at the 9 o'clock, take that 12 o'clock, you can end up with just getting basically overrun at the late game just by pure upgrades by pure army. And G5's had so much damage thus far that, yeah, I can't say that he feels comfortable into this mid game. He might even just go for a killing blow here, because he's got that Citadel of Adun down, but he's not making any motions to taking any additional expansions, where it looks like KawaiiRice is perhaps doing so because he realizes he really can't deal with this continuous Vulture harass, trying to maintain map control across all these bridges. Only 5 siege tanks actually in this mix, unless sorry, I am missing one in that tree. So not a lot of actually siege tanks to deal with a lot of Dragoons out in the field. It looks like he's still only at a single machine shop. And now G5 making his move right as those tanks were unsieged. He did have that shuttle up above. Looks like, completely unsieged. Now trying to re-siege. The Zealot's able to bomb from up above, and with just 6 siege tanks, he's not going to be able to hold all these Dragoons back. So just pure Dragoon going to be able to run into this. And with those observers up ahead, G5 is going to be able to wipe this out, and I think this is going to be the game-changing moment here. Again, KawaiiRice relying just too much on too many Vultures for too long in this game, not able to, and just ended up off balance, and G5 going to exploit it with just overwhelming numbers of Dragoons. Pressing forward, even has some Zealots here in the mix. 12 o'clock location in danger. Looks like the Siege Tank did manage, Siege Tank and some Vultures did manage to sneak into a drop and once again get some probe kills, but it really isn't going to make all that much a difference unless KawaiiRice can get some another supply of Siege Tanks out in this mix. And right now it looks like I'm only seeing 2 Siege Tanks and still a significant amount of Dragoons, and he really can't replenish it all that rapidly with just the single machine shop, and KawaiiRice knows it. GG's right there, so G5 with just Dragoons able to take that match. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.